Hello, everybody. This is English Leveling, and today we're talking about the phrase something happens in a vacuum. Something happens in a vacuum. What exactly does that mean? Well, it means that something that happened was not influenced or affected by any outside event. Okay, so it was not influenced, it was not affected by something else outside. It was an inside decision. It was not based on anything that happened for some other reason, right? So there's really no reason or cause from the outside, right? It was an internal decision only, nothing outside. And so let's think about this in the negative sense, right? It didn't happen in a vacuum would mean what exactly? Well, exactly the opposite. It means that there's some type of reason, there's some reason or some event, right? Something that made some type of effect or influence on the decision. Okay, so this happened because of this reason and this reason and this reason. Okay, so if it's made for reason 1, 2, and 3, then we can say that it didn't happen in a vacuum. Okay, but if we say that something happened in a vacuum, well, there is nothing on the outside that made that decision. Okay, so let's take a look at a few examples here, and let's see if we can kind of understand this a little bit better. And so I just searched for a few things, and I came up with, all right, this type of sentence. It says that success doesn't happen in a vacuum. Okay, so this kind of phrase, it uses that term, right? In a vacuum, doesn't happen in a vacuum. Success doesn't happen in a vacuum. Well, what does it mean by that? Well, it means that in order to be successful, or in order to have success, what do we need? We need the outside influence, maybe from other people, from other things that happen around us. We need the outside influence in order to be successful. That's kind of what that means, right? We need people that can help us, other successful people that know the world of business or whatever we're talking about. They know the world about money, or they know different things, and those people are helping us to succeed. That's kind of the thrust behind that kind of phrase. So success doesn't happen in a vacuum. That would mean, just by myself, working very, very, very hard, not depending on anybody, not depending on anything, just only by myself. It can't happen. All right. Another thing, if I say that somebody is working in a vacuum, what does that mean? If I say that they're working in a vacuum, again, my work is so focused, right? I'm focused on my work, right? My work is going to be the same. It doesn't depend on anything else. I'm just here by myself. I'm doing my work. It's going to be the same with or without anything else that's happening in the world around me. Okay. All right. So some other things that we might say, some common verbs that we would use, right? Operate in a vacuum, or happen in a vacuum, or occur in a vacuum. Make a decision in a vacuum, right? If I say the leaders of the company made a decision in a vacuum, I'm saying that they made a decision only by themselves, right? And they didn't take into account anything that happens outside of whatever, outside of them, right? They made the decision based on what they think. They didn't think about, or they didn't incorporate, the lower people in the company, and they didn't incorporate any events outside of the company to make their decision. Okay, so here we can say something like this: in a vacuum, the deal makes a lot of sense. Okay, in this type of example, right? In a vacuum, the deal makes a lot of sense, right? In a vacuum, and so, right, we can sense that this has a negative tone to it, right? If we consider only the inside part of the story, right? Only in the inside part of the story, yes, the deal makes sense. It makes a lot of sense. It's a good deal. But it kind of seems like it's a negative. Why does it seem like it's a negative? Well, because there is some external factors. There is something on the outside. When you take those factors into consideration, while we feel like, that is not really a good deal. But if we just look at it from one very specific point of view, yeah, maybe it seems good, right? All right, in a vacuum, it may seem reasonable. Okay, and in this sentence, right, we have the same thing. It may seem reasonable if it's in a vacuum, right? If it's, we're making our decisions based only without any other influence, just by ourselves, not affected by anything. It seems reasonable. Wow, it seems like, yeah, it's good. We can understand that. But again, it has that negative sense when we're saying it like this, because there are some external reasons for it maybe not being too reasonable or sounding reasonable. Okay, so I think you got the hang of it. So if I say that I act in a vacuum, or I make a decision in a vacuum, or if the company operates in a vacuum, I'm saying that they are not affected and they are not influenced by anything from the outside.